Good day, folks. It's Tony Fortunato from the technology firm. Today I'm going to show you how to configure geo-blocking on a Ubiquiti Edge router. I've got a VPN configuration on mine, like a lot of people do, and I want to prevent people from outside of my country, for example, from trying to access my router and being nosy. So we're going to show you how to do all that pretty quick, pretty simple, and it's going to all be from the command prompt. So here's all the stuff I used to build this one presentation. This document from Ubiquiti is going to show me how to add packages, because we need to do that. How to create a WAN firewall rule. I'll put all these URLs in the actual write-up. This is a great article on EdgeRouter configuration, and this is where I actually got the bash script from. Then Willie Howe had this great video on GeoIP blocking. And then finally my original video on how to set up a VPN on my Edge router. So we're going to go through a whole bunch of little tips and tricks. For example, right now, screen's full of stuff. Most terminal emulators, just Control L. That will clear the screen, if you did not know that. I'm going to just explain some of these commands, but not a whole lot of them, because they're pretty obvious. So for the people who write scripts, or if you just don't want a lot of stuff coming up on your screen and you constantly have to hit the space bar to continue, terminal length 0 disables that, just so you know. And then from there, we're going to take a look at our log to see if people have been poking around. And sure enough, today being the 16th, you can see there's all sorts of IPs of people being nosy. So we're going to stop all that. The other thing that's important to understand is the version. So this, hopefully you've got version 2 or higher. Otherwise, the package part of this is going to be slightly different for you, which you can reference in the article. So I'm going to just copy and paste these commands, kind of just to test to make sure my documentation is accurate, because that's what I'm going to post in the article. So here we're just configuring the repository, and that was pretty simple. You have to commit and save your work with Ubiquiti. Commit basically will kind of apply the changes, and then save will write them to your actual configuration upon boot up, and that's where this config.boot comes up. Where are we here? Oh yeah, so now the fun part. So the people who know Linux will be familiar with sudo apt-get, and there's a lot of options, one of them being update. And the key here is update, do not upgrade, because you'll see in some write-ups you can use the word upgrade as an option. Don't do it. Apparently this will brick your router, and Willie talks about this in his video multiple times to put the point across. So do not use upgrade. Use update, just like I did. Again, if you just copy and paste my notes, then you'll be good to go. And I'm just going to wait for that to finish. And again, this doesn't take that long. You know, if you find it takes longer than a minute, something's gone horribly wrong, or you have an extremely slow internet connection, possibly. Who knows? So now we're going to install DNS utilities into the router, because we need that to do some other stuff. And then after we're done, we're actually going to test to make sure the utilities were installed properly. And that's going to be a simple dig command. And you'll see that, again, I just want to make sure everything works. And I'm doing a command at a time, because I want to make sure if there is an error, I can see it instead of copying and pasting a dozen commands and then it goes nuts halfway through it. And the dig worked just fine. Good for me. Now we're going to install a wget, which the bash script requires to download the IP list from ipdeny.com. I'm pretty sure it's .com. And then after wget, we're going to install nano, which is a slightly more graphical text editor compared to V or vi. Everybody pronounces it differently. That's fine. And then from there, we're going to do our first command. So we're going to create a firewall group. You can do all of this in the GUI, right? But I'm just doing it from the command prompt. And set firewall group, it's a network group, which means we're going to only be able to provide network addresses, like a 192.168.1.0 is a network address, /24, for example. And I'm calling it countries allowed. That's the name I'm giving it. And the description, I just gave it the same thing. You can call it whatever you like. From there, we're going to, again, commit. We're going to save, and we're going to exit from configuration mode. So if you've noticed, you had these square brackets with the word edit in it because we're in configuration mode. So now we're outside of config mode. So now what? Well, the script is going to download, in my case, the Canadian list of IP addresses. So I need to make a folder that corresponds with that bash script, okay? And it goes in a folder called zone files. I'm keeping this consistent with the way those people wrote the original articles, just to make life easy. You can change whatever you want. From there, I'm going to change my folder. I'm going to go to config scripts. If I just do a simple directory listing, you'll see there's another folder called post-config.d. If you put your script in there, the script will run every time the router reboots. I don't want to do that. I want to be able to run it when I need it. And some of these sites, the power is kind of sketchy at best, so I don't need it doing this every single time. Where are we now? So now we're going to create our file. The file is going to be called country-load. That's the actual script that we're creating, okay? And nano's the text editor that we're going to use. Again, in my notes, you will see that everything is there. You just basically copy and paste. That's what I'm doing in the background here while I'm yapping. And paste. So there you go. Make sure you get it all. I just realized the second part of it was on the second page of my notes. So I'm going to post the rest of it. There you go. Done. So now I'm going to save this. Control O will write it out. You can see it shows you the name of the file. We're going to keep it the same, obviously. And then we're going to exit. Control X. We're back to the prompt. So for the people who know Linux file systems and whatnot, you know you just can't run this script now, right? So we got to do a change mod, chmod 755, which makes it executable. And now I'm actually going to run my script. So sudo will run it. And off we go to the races. Depending on how many countries you download, depending on the load of your router, depending on your internet connection speed, this can take anywhere from a minute to, some people say 10. I find that hard to believe. I've only had a minute or two max, right? So this will probably be done by the time I'm done yapping. While we're doing that, you could go to the GUI and do the second part, but I'm simply going to copy and paste more commands. Just keep it all in the command line, because right now we're in an SSH session, so it's fairly lightweight. So even if you have some internet connectivity issues, or it's got poor bandwidth or whatever, this always tends to work fairly reliably, right? We don't have to use the GUI for any of this. I will release another video later with some GUI stuff in it for the people who prefer to use it, but you don't have to. So sudo ipset -L and the name countries_allowed will show me everything in that list. And there's all your IPs. And when you create this, do not edit this in the GUI. So you'll see a network group called countries allowed. Don't edit it. Don't look at it. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Only manage it through the SSH shell. All right. Now we're going to try to find the two rules, firewall rules, because I have many routers and the rule numbers may not be consistent across them all. And I'm looking for the thing that has IKE and L2TP. And you can see rule 30 and 60. Now in my notes, you'll see that I've got the actual commands to create those rules, the new rules, to block or allow. In my case, I'm going to allow the actual. Okay, let me just do that. There you go. Yep, I just want to make sure it went right. So set firewall names, WAN local, rule 30 and 60, because that's what I found. And the source group is a network group, and it's called countries_allowed for 30 and 60, which will cover L2TP and IKE, right? If you got other stuff in there, port forwarding or whatever, yeah, you can add it to all that. So there you go, folks. That's under 10 minutes. That's not too bad. Give it a try if you'd like. Always remember to do a backup of your configs just in case. And that's it, folks. Have a good day. Bye for now.